Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Monkey Shine Lab Theater. We call it the Freelance Primate Theater. Um, it's where we sit and watch most of our stuff, whether it's on stream or on our rather voluminous disc library, which we have. Um, I haven't done a film review in a little while. They're not my most popular videos. So I tend to really just come out and talk about stuff that I enjoy or that have problems. So welcome to a just what I like to call the freelance primate review of today. It's going to be Skull Island, which is on Netflix. It's an animated feature length story, basically. It's 8 episodes, and each episode, sorry, the dog is spinning his collar over there. Each episode is roughly 22 minutes, maybe, or so. So it's more like a half an hour program that would be made for, being broadcast in those segments. Sometimes you find that these things are recut. And so this is a situation where they probably could have put them into longer episodes, but I'm seriously, seriously glad that they didn't. In trying to watch this thing along with another one that I'm going to talk about on another episode, the Gamera series that they just put out, Gamera Rebirth. This one is, like I said, the episodes are 25 minutes or so, a little less. And on the Gamera, everything is like 45 minutes. Okay. And I know that doesn't seem, it seems like a sort of an arbitrary thing, like, why do you not like that? Well, because a lot of the time I consider that anime, especially stuff that's available or animated pieces like this that are made available through Netflix, these are the way that my grandkids are probably going to first come in contact with some of these characters. And I'm gonna talk about a little bit of that too, the accessibility of this, of Skull Island here versus Gamera Rebirth in a second. But since they're going to see these, I'm more often than not, they may end up seeing them in the future. I'd like to know what they contain. I'd like to know how appropriate they are and stuff like that. So I'm not going to give away any spoilers here. And I'm only going to use pictures to back up anything that I talk about or whatever right here. These are all Googleable images, so I don't steal screen grabs to talk about spoilers or any of that kind of stuff. I try to keep that just for you to walk into and discover or not. It's based on your decisions. But I will tell you the wider paintbrush strokes of what you're going to see. With Skull Island, I incorrectly called it anime, and some people may classify it as such because it is an animated series. But the distinction that I'm going to make is purely technical. There's a frame rate difference between what this is and what typical anime styles will be out of, say, anywhere in Asia, any animated features in Asia. These are more akin to the, the DC or the Marvel animated features that you can find on disc. and the art style is much more along the lines of Avatar. So I know some people will look at Avatar and they'll look at this and they will look at Skull Island. You know, I mean, they'll look at all these things and they'll and they won't be able to make the distinction. But for those of you who have the discerning palate, I'm going to say I do know the difference between this and that. The Gamera series is Eastern produced, so it's much more. The frame rate is lower. And I think it's a stylistic choice, honestly. I think it's the way that they get their extremes and in-betweens. If you don't know what extremes and in-betweens means, basically all the animators around Bugs Bunny and things, they came up with how to blur motion by placing certain frames in between, and it's what they would call the extremes and the in-betweens. Anyway. I think that too, the series which I'm talking about today, Skull Island, it doesn't use as much in the way of 3D computer animation. I'm sure that all the cell work and all the character animation and all of the ADR and etc. is done, you know, with computers. But this far more reflects cell animation all the way through. My brother doesn't mind watching some Western animation things here and there, but he really he doesn't like the art styles and he doesn't like the animation quality of how they do their motions. So, you know, some people like it and some people don't. Moving on to the content, this is probably some stuff that's made for about your 14-year-old or so on up. There's a couple of upsetting themes in terms of character demise, and there are a couple of fairly, you know, violent episodes. They don't really hold back too far, but it's all, there's no, you know, there's no graphic gore. There's no, I'm just talking about, you know, action violence and folks with, there's some mercenaries that have machine guns and stuff. So there's shooting in it, you know. These are the things that parents want to know, believe it or not, even in 2023. Another distinction that I am going to bring up the Gamera Rebirth for now, okay? And I was honestly surprised. When watching this Skull Island thing, by the way, if you're not familiar, oh gosh, I did this all wrong. Let me back up just a second. This is all raveled up in the legendary Godzilla and King Kong movies that are being made by Hollywood and Legendary Studios right now. So this is an arm of Legendary Pictures called Legendary Television, are the ones who made this animated feature. So all of this stuff is supposed to wrap into King Kong Skull Island, and it's supposed to wrap into the Godzilla movies that are out currently, and the Godzilla vs. Kong, and the Godzilla vs. Kong 2, which is coming out pretty soon. And I'll try to get around to making informationals about those when and if I can. Anyway, okay, back to what I was saying about the difference between this and, say, the Gamera films, or the Gamera animation specifically. This Skull Island can be watched by, say, your 14-year-old fairly safely, okay? There's no graphic nudity, there's no, there's a minimum of harsh language. I think they use the S word a couple of times, but in the Gamera, Rebirth of Gamera, also available on Netflix, they use the F word like a whole bunch. And it's like sort of prepubescent and teenage kids that are using these vulgarities. Now, I'm not gonna say that's wrong. Okay, I've heard my niece, my nephew, and all of our kids, and probably at some point our grandkids are going to become potty mouthed. That's how we are as Americans. But I don't think that we need to kickstart it by putting that into animated material. And I think that, you know, the Gamera Rebirth, as good as it is in so many different ways in updating the great old Gamera films of the 60s that I loved as a kid, that gratuitous, semi-gratuitous use of the F word by some of the principal child characters, it wasn't even necessary. You know, as swearing amongst kids can often be. I didn't really think about that. But, you know, like, consider if some of you have a teenager and they start using the F word around the house, and then crank it up to trucker level. You know, would you want to sit through that? So, it's points off on the Gamera thing. And because I said, and these things are marked TV 14, by the way. In our country, that means that if you're 14 years old or older, you know, and they always hide behind some sort of parentheses, small print thing of you should be a parent and know better. You know, they always say, you know, this is okay for your teenager to watch. Is it? You know, all of the monster action aside, and you know, I could even see, like in Skull Island, I could see the very occasional use of the S word in extreme situation, where like a monster has just swatted a tentacle past your face, you know, or grabbed a character off a boat, or seeing Kong for the first time at 100 feet tall. I like this because it fills out those universes and it gives me, like, you know, a little battery recharge in between these films being released, which I've been a fan of, on the whole. I think that this set of Godzilla and King Kong films is actually managing to hit a few correct notes. We still make it far too special effecty, and we still make it way too long. But this Skull Island, because it's 22-minute bites, it doesn't feel too long. It feels just about right. And it is, of course, left wide open at the end for the ever hoped for second season. So I haven't heard anything yet, but I would imagine that they will do so. It's a good sit and watch. It's fun, kind of like animated series do. There's a character element that is added in. I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but it's a giant dog creature. I loved this creature because it reminded me of Jezebel, our bulldog. But you'll see, if you want to watch this, you'll see this character that's added in. I'm not really sure how they could work this into the movies. But everything else is sort of helping to set up the movies, as Skull Island being one of those areas on Earth where you can actually get to inner Earth, which is where all the monsters are. Yeah, I know. If you're not into this stuff, it sounds stupid. But kind of like a little bit of a Jules Verne, Journey to the Center of the Earth. It's these new Godzilla films. They're calling it. It's called, what is it called? The multi. I don't know. It's the multiverse of Godzilla, but it's what they're doing is they're setting up that like Earth is what we've been living on is sort of a crust around an inner prehistoric world, and one of those access points is, turns out, Skull Island. That's why you see various different things from the Kong and Godzilla universes emerging on this island. And that's not really a spoiler. It's what they're trying to do. They're trying to set up their whole monster verse. Okay, we're gonna see more licensed monsters from the original studio, which is Toho. We've got a brand new Godzilla film coming called Godzilla -1, which is about to release in its home country of Japan. Usually it's tradition to release Godzilla films in November and December. In history, it's sort of like a Christmas present, a little bit. So we will see Godzilla -1, and then after that, I believe the people at Legendary are going to show us Godzilla Kong 2. So I'm looking forward to it. If I had stuff that was this good a quality when I was, say, 10 to 14, when I was staying home and watching monster movies on a Friday night instead of trying to go out and chase girls or whatever, I never probably would have chased girls. I didn't chase all that many. I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, man. How far do you think that got me back in the day? Anyway, I can see that this is toddling on a little bit long here, but I'm going to say this is a good watch. It is a good placeholder if you are looking for a little bit more fleshed out universe for Godzilla and Kong coming your way. You can't go wrong with this. It looks like Avatar: The Last Airbender in terms of character design. All the characters are very likable. They have lots and lots of humor written into it that works. There are no real cringe moments that I found in this, and believe me, I was ready. I'm one of the people that lived through Godzilla and Godzuki on Saturday mornings. You have no idea. I mean, you want to talk about Scrappy-Doo. Anyway, I am going to talk about a few more movies and stuff like that coming up, and then I will try, of course, to have some Halloween appropriate material come the week of. Stick around, folks. I promise. If you don't like what's happening today, come back tomorrow. I promise it'll be another day, and we'll be doing something different. But if you like what we've done here, please leave a comment. If you like it, leave a comment. If you don't like it, leave a comment. Just comment on the video while you're watching. that really helps us out. And then if you really want to give us a big clap on the back, hit that subscribe button down below and give us a subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but if we get enough of you together, it opens up really neat things for me, kind of like a video game. I'm trying to get those achievements so that I can unlock other things. Okay. Again, it's only going to help me make better programming for all of you. And I know there are a lot of people out there who do what we do. So we really appreciate it when you come here and spend a little bit of your time with us. Believe me. Anyway, I'm going to see if the dogs want to go out for a little quick walk in between the rainstorms. You all take it easy, and I will see you on the next episode right here. Probably coming up next. Bye.